Hi, good morning to all of you, and thank you for removing your precious time and attending this seminar, which is based on the basis of crowdfunding. Can you all hear me? Can you please type yes or no? Hello? Can you all hear me? Like, is my voice audible to you? Okay, this sounds amazing. So I have got multiple positive responses, and it's a good sign that we could go ahead. So presenting to you, we have Mr. Rohit, who is the Senior Business Development Manager at Ketto Online Private Ventures, and he'll be there to explain you about what is crowdfunding, what are the basics of crowdfunding, and how can you and your NGO succeed with crowdfunding. So I'm gonna hand over the mic to Mr. Rohit, and he'll be helping you out with the topic. Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning to all of you. Right, so my name is Rohit, and as Adil said, that I'm one of the senior business development managers here. I would be taking you through this webinar, which is for the basics of crowdfunding. Okay, so now just to begin with, I'd just like to give you a small intro about Ketto. Okay, so Ketto is about 3 years old, and we have about 3,500 NGOs on board, and we've helped raised about 120 crores in the past 3 years for various causes, and for, as I said, we've got about 3,500 NGOs on board. So now I'd like to take you through this webinar, so this presentation which we have for you. Okay. So now, what is crowdfunding? Okay. So now, by pooling small contributions of money from groups of people who share common interests, everyone has the power to achieve financial goals. So now what that means is, so if you see the presentation, so to say in very simple terms, crowdfunding is a small amounts of money from a lot of people is equal to crowdfunding. Okay, and as it is mentioned over here, as it says, people who've got common interests, when they come together and when they pool in small amounts of money, okay, people can achieve their financial goals. Okay, now to date, crowdfunding has been used to raise funds for charities, creative projects, startup ventures, individual projects, and group buying. Okay, so would just like to emphasize, like crowdfunding is not just used in terms of charities; it is also used for creative projects and uh, a lot of the other startup ventures. Okay, so this is just a brief introduction as to what crowdfunding is. Okay. Now, I'd like to take you through the tools and features which we've actually built. So now Ketto is an online technology platform, so the kind of technology which we've built, helps NGOs in terms of raising funds, in terms of maintaining donor base, okay, and various other features. So I'm just going to take you through the tools and features now. So one of the most unique features which we have at Ketto is called as the individual fundraiser. So to take you through, so the NGO has got a unique opportunity to create deeper engagement with donors by encouraging them to become fundraisers. So now, as I said, this is one of the most unique features which we have at Ketto, which is called as the individual fundraiser. So I'm sure that all you NGOs have got your own donor, and you've got your own donor base. Okay, so Okay, so I am guessing that you guys can hear me again as my organizer has just let me know that my voice audible again. So actually, we've got a lot of people joining in for this webinar. So let me get the slide from the start again. Okay, so now individual fundraisers. Okay, so now this is one of the most unique features which we have at Ketto. Okay, so now the NGO has the unique opportunity to create deeper engagement with donors by encouraging them to become fundraisers. Now, I'm sure that your NGO has got your own donor base. And one of the most best things in terms of utilizing your entire donor base is to ask them to become fundraisers for you. Because if you come to think about it, a particular donor, if he wants to get associated with an NGO, okay, there are just two ways in which they can. They can either first come and contribute, or else they can come and volunteer. Okay. So now what Ketto has introduced is, you can you can ask your donors to become a fundraiser, and that helps create awareness about the cause and the NGO, okay, to previously unknown networks, gather new donors with detailed personal info and raise more funds. So now what this means is, when you are converting your donors into becoming fundraisers, so your donors will have their own individual fundraiser with their names on it, with their profile pictures on it. They can write their own, sharing their own campaign, and when they start sharing their own campaign via their Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter, and all forms of social media, okay, so that helps in creating awareness about the cause, okay, awareness about the NGO, okay, because one of the things we've seen since the past 3 years is, people end up giving to people, and people do not give for a cause. So, that's why it is very important to convert the donors into becoming fundraisers, because like they will give you access to their friends and family who in future, they can also be converted into becoming fundraisers. So at Ketto, you are not just raising funds, but you're also increasing your entire donor base. Okay, moving on to the next slide. Okay, so now this is an example which we have. Okay, so this particular campaign was for this NGO which was from Delhi called the St. Jude. I'm sure that some of you might have heard of it. Okay, and now also just to let you know, so now this campaign raised about 1 crore 76 lakhs. Okay, and this campaign has actually been one of the most highest campaigns amongst all platforms in Asia, and that has happened at Ketto. So just to tell you in brief about this campaign, so the managing director of Barclays Asia Pacific, he and his group of friends, so they thought of raising funds for an NGO which is in Delhi. Some sort of a unique fundraising campaign which these people had. So where, as I said, our managing director of Barclays, okay, so he and his friends thought of cycling from India Gate to a Gateway of India, which is from Delhi to India. Which is from Delhi to Bombay. And so it was kind of like a relay, where somebody would cycle 20 kilometers, somebody else will cycle 20, 30 kilometers, and then that's how. Now, this campaign was on for 30 days, okay? And obviously, since the campaign owner, was the managing director of Barclays, he had a very big network. And so through this campaign, okay, we raised funds of almost, as I said, 1 crore 76 lakh 85,500. And we had a lot of big names also come and contribute towards this campaign. For example, Sundar Pichai, so who's CEO. We had Sachin Tendulkar come and donate towards this campaign. So this is an example as to how you can convert your donors into becoming individual fundraisers and how it can be beneficial for an NGO. Okay, moving on to the next slide. So now Ketto offers something which is called as a microsite. Okay, Now, to tell you in very, very simple terms, microsite will be your account at Ketto. Okay, so a microsite is a dedicated a white label which could act as an NGO's primary website or the profile page on Ketto. Here, not only can the NGO, but even the supporters can start fundraisers for the specific NGO. It's a one-stop shop that allows the NGO to measure total impact on Ketto through complete transparency. So now, as I said, Ketto offers something which is called as a microsite, and in simple terms, this is your account at Ketto. Now, this entire microsite will just have one single button which will say start a fundraiser. Okay. Now, this is where your friends, your family, your donors, or volunteers, all your supporters can come and start a fundraiser for you. Okay. Now, just to show you an example of a fundraiser of a particular microsite. So now this is Teach for India. So I'm sure that all of you guys have heard of Teach for India. So now this is teachforindia.ketto.org. So now this is the microsite for this NGO. And as I said, okay, so you will just find one button over here which says start a campaign. Okay. Now these are all individual campaigns, okay, begun by the individual supporters of Teach for India. Okay. So anybody and everybody out there, who would want to come and support your NGO, they can come and start a fundraiser for you. Okay, apart from just coming and donating, and apart from just coming and volunteering, they can come and start a fundraiser for your NGO. And this in turn helps you, or not just in terms of raising more funds, okay, but also in terms of increasing your entire donor base. Okay, and if you can see the funds raised over here, which says 66,43,000. Okay, so now this is a cumulative total of all the campaigns which have been started on this particular microsite. Anybody who comes and starts a campaign on Teach for India's microsite, okay, now the beneficiary for that is going to be only Teach for India, okay, and no one else. Okay, so as I said, this is the microsite which Ketto offers to all our NGO partners. Moving on to the next slide, we have something which is called as the monthly giving program. Okay, monthly giving programs are a great opportunity to convert one-time donors into committed givers. This also provides a steady source of monthly donations. Ketto handles all the operations with no intervention from the NGO or the donor. The funds are simply transferred on a timely manner. Okay, so at Ketto we also have a donate monthly option, which is your monthly recurring donations. Okay, so if you have dedicated donors out there, okay, it will be very, very beneficial for NGOs to get them converted into being a recurring donors or into donating monthly. Okay, now the entire back-end work, okay, which is sending out the ECS form, getting it filled out from the donors. Okay, so all of that process is taken care by us. Okay, now just to go through it again, so this is called as the monthly giving program. Okay, and as I said, it is very, very beneficial for NGOs to get their donors, okay, converting them into coming and giving donations on a monthly basis, because that just gives like a steady source of funds for all NGOs. Now this is an example which we have. So this is also another microsite which we have. Okay, so there's this NGO which is called as Just for Kicks. So these people organize sports events for underprivileged kids. Okay, now I have a donate monthly button over here. Okay, so now whenever an NGO gets in touch with their donors, and the donors get convinced in terms of donating monthly on a monthly basis. Okay, so that is when they get directed towards the NGO's microsite, and when they click on donate monthly, so you have an option of giving them various slabs, whether they want to donate 500 rupees monthly or they want to donate 1,000, 2,000, 10,000, and all these slabs are completely customizable. So obviously, Ketto will be asking our NGO partners as to what the kind of slabs which you would like to keep onto your microsite, and accordingly, that is how we will build it for you. So it is completely customizable. Okay, and just to take you through once again, so as I said, this is our NGO call is Just for Kicks, and now these are the total funds raised, which is 22,50,478. Now all these funds are actually raised by the individual supporters of this NGO. So I would like to re-emphasize on the fact, where it is very, very beneficial for NGOs to convert their donors, or not just their donors, but to convert their volunteers, their friends, their families, not just into coming and donating for them, but into coming and starting a fundraiser for them. And this outcome. Okay, so Just for Kicks. If I'm not mistaken, there are now these 22 lakh 50,000. So these funds were raised within the past month, half or 2 months. And this is all only because of individual people coming and starting with campaigns for them. So as I said, it is very, very beneficial for you to convert your volunteers, your donors, friends, your family, all into becoming and starting a fundraiser for you. Okay, now all of these features, okay, are all available onto your microsite, where start a fundraiser, your supporters can come and start a fundraiser for you. If you have any donors, like who are looking to donate monthly, so that customization also is possible with us. So I'd like to, begin with the Q&A session now. Okay, and a colleague over here, will go ahead and read out the questions, and I will try and go and give the answers for it.
Hello, everybody. I hope it was an insightful session. Thank you, Rohit. I would urge you to shoot out your questions, and Rohit will be more than happy to address them. Cheers. So the first question we got is from One Step at a Time, Bangalore. The question is, what are charges for the monthly donation program, and what percentage of funds go to Ketto?
All right, thank you very much, Adil, for the question. And I'll just like to repeat the question once again. So, what are the charges for the donate monthly customization feature which we have? So now Ketto charges a flat fee of 5% on all the donations which we receive on a monthly basis. Okay? And now it is 5% in tax. So I'm just hoping that that answers your question. Once again, I'll just like to answer it. The charges for the donate monthly or recurring donations are 5% per month, 5% of the funds. Right. Over to you, Adil, for the next question.
Yeah, so another question we have is, Rohit, could you also share some best practices or do's and don'ts when at crowdfunding?
All right, thank you very much, Adil. So I just like to repeat the question once again. Okay, so can we share any do's and don'ts when it comes to crowdfunding? Okay, so now as I said, so now this entire presentation is on the basics of crowdfunding. Okay, so now I would like to talk about the do's at first. Okay, as we've seen in the previous slides. So I would take you once again to the do's. Okay, one of the most important factors which NGOs should be doing is the individual fundraisers. As I said, Try and get your donors, try and get your volunteers, try and get your friends, try and get your family, all of them who believe in the cause, who believe in the work which you do, to come and start with fundraisers for you. This is, one of the biggest beneficial factors, for an NGO. And another do is, I mean, not so this is an example of how beneficial it can be to have a particular donor or a supporter come and start with fundraisers for you. Uh, Another do is get yourself a Ketto microsite. Okay, so it has a lot of features. It has a lot of customization. You can have your own logo. Okay, you can have your own banner images. You can have start a fundraiser option. That is where you can track all the campaigns running. Okay, you can also have the donate monthly option on it. Okay, so I would recommend all of you to go ahead and get the Ketto microsite today. So, and another one is monthly giving programs. So try and convert your donors into becoming dedicated people in terms of coming giving you donations per month. And so to answer the question when it comes to do's and don'ts, okay, so to be very very frank, there would not just be one single answer for it, because there are so many causes out there, right? So when you talk about animal welfare, there will be different do's and don'ts. When you talk about women empowerment, that would have a different answer. When you talk about acid attack victims, that would have a different answer. you know and so just to let you know is, whenever an NGO gets signed up on Ketto, okay, so that's when a dedicated account manager is assigned to them, okay, and they will take you through the entire process in terms of do's and don'ts and what all things will be beneficial for you, right from creating the campaign, what all images to put on it, what all videos to put on it, what all things we should not put on it, then giving you fundraising tips. Okay, so as I said, so that there's no fixed answer to give you in terms of do's and don'ts. But then to give you a generic answer is go ahead, have your supporters start with individual fundraisers for you. Get yourself the Ketto microsite. It has a lot more features which I'm going to talk about, and also go ahead and convince your donors for your monthly giving program. I hope it answers your question, and over to you, Adil, for the next one.
Thank you so much,
Thank you so much, Rohit.
It was really informative,
And this also answers what Ketto will help you in crowdfunding.
Now, the next
interesting question that we have is,
can people
can people outside India start an individual fundraiser for us?
Right. Thank you very much, Adil. I'd just like to repeat the question. Okay. So, can people outside of India start with fundraisers for us? Okay. So, the answer to that is yes. And in fact, talking about the previous question about the do's and don'ts, okay, this is the answer to that. So, it is definitely, advisable to have your supporters abroad, okay, to have them come and start with fundraisers for you, because they will have a totally different network of friends and family, okay. So it just basically opens doors into an entire new set of donors for you, into an entire new set of donations for you, okay. So, but as long as your NGO has an FCRA, as long as your NGO has an FCRA, I would recommend you to go ahead and have even your supporters who are abroad, ask them to come and start a fundraiser for you, which will be on your microsite. I hope that answers the question, and we'll just take one more last question now. We are going to have another Q&A round after the end of the next few slides. So if there are certain questions which have not been answered, they will be taken up then. Right, so the last question for this Q&A session, Adil, over to you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Rohit. There's another interesting last question.
States that
how
is it
is it
to raise
is
multiple
multiple
meetings?
they
They
we work in
work in
malnutrition
malnutrition,
and children and in
children,
health.
and in health.
Do you think it will
Do you
help
think it
if
will
we
help
raise pages under each
under
category?
each category?
Right. So I believe that everybody's heard that question out loud. If you want, I can just go ahead and read that once again. So this question comes in from Paikalo Foundation, saying that how beneficial is it to raise multiple pages? Say we work in a malnutrition, children, and in health. Do you think it will help if we raise pages under each category? So the answer for this question is yes, it will definitely be beneficial if you have separate pages for separate categories. Okay, because as I said, whenever you have your individual supporters, come and start with fundraisers for you. Okay, so now people will come and start a fundraiser for you depending on the cause which they feel for. Okay, so if they feel for malnutrition, they will go ahead and support that particular cause. If they feel something for children, they will go ahead and start something for the children. So all of that can be done onto your Ketto microsite. Okay, you can have various multiple causes for various campaigns. Okay, so there's nothing like that, where, on your microsite, you can start campaigns of only one cause, women empowerment. No, you can have campaigns of various causes. Okay. So I'm just hoping that answers your question. And so I'd like to go ahead and move on to the next slide. Okay. So now, as I said, Ketto is also an online technology platform, so the kind of tools and the features which we build, okay, so they basically help NGOs not just in terms of raising funds, but in terms of maintaining the entire donor database and various other things, okay. So now here we're going to talk about okay, so now here we're going to talk about automated ATG receipts. Okay, so a brand new tool that enables the NGO to send automated ATG receipts to all its donors directly from the dashboard. Saves the NGO a lot of hard work and time by making the entire process automated, seamless, as well as documented. So, I frankly, don't find too much of a need to explain it to you, as to when it comes to a traditional way in terms of sending out ATGs, which is very, very tedious. Like you got to sit down and make individual ATGs for individual donors. You got to put in your PAN details. You got to put in your ATG incorporation date, your ATG registration number, all of these. So it was a very, very tedious process, and especially, when you are running a campaign and if you've got, say even more than 50 donors, sitting down and making individual ATGs was a very tedious process. So what Ketto has done is, Ketto has analyzed such kind of problems, such kind of speed bumps. Okay, and that's why we have built a feature which is in terms of the automated ATG receipts. So now what that means is, okay, in very, very simple terms, with a single click of a button, you can send out thousands of ATGs. Okay, you can send out n number of ATGs. Okay, so now, as I said, so now this particular seminar is just for the basics of crowdfunding. So we are going to have second level, third level seminars as well. So in those kind of seminars is when we will be talking as to how to send out ATG receipts. Okay, but it is a very, very simple procedure. Okay, when you create your NGO profile on Ketto, that is when you have an option in terms of uploading your ATG details. And when your campaign gets over, there's just a single button out there that says send out ATGs. You do not have to do anything. And within a fraction of a second, ATGs are sent out to all the donors. Okay, so there is no a minimal number of donors, or there is no a maximum number of donors. So with a single click of a button, you can send out thousands of ATGs. And as this particular slide says, saves the NGOs a lot of hard work and time by making the entire process automated, and everything is very well documented in it. Okay, so you can download your entire donor information right from the NGO dashboard. Okay, so every NGO has got their own profile. Okay, so that profile will basically have a dashboard, where you can send out ATGs, you can download your entire donor information, you can also send out personalized thank you emails. So instead of manually, sending out emails to all your donors, okay, here you have an option of creating a template, okay, of creating a template for the kind of content, for your thank you emails, and with a single click of a button, you can send out thank you emails to all the people in your donor base. Okay, so quickly to give you a recap, okay, automated ATG of receipts, okay, with a single click of a button, you can send out thousands of ATGs. That saves you a lot of time and a lot of hassle. All of these features are there on your Ketto microsite. So this, once again, is one of the do's. Go ahead and get yourself the Ketto microsite today. Okay, and not just for the ATG receipts, but also for the personalized thank you emails. Okay, you can download your entire donor information. Now, your donor information will consist of the full names, email address, phone numbers, physical address. Okay, now all of this information is there on your Ketto dashboard, and the Ketto dashboard, okay, is a part of your Ketto microsite. So once again, please go ahead and get yourself the Ketto microsite today. Now, how to engage your individual donors? Okay, so make your donors give online. Online transactions are a lot more effective, while at all times
Hello? Hello? Is the voice audible?
okay, you guys can hear me now, right? Okay, perfect. All right. So easier for donors. It's far easier for donors and helps maintain highest level of transparency. Okay, data is critical. Online donations help
Hello everybody, is the voice audible? So can you hear me, Indraneel? Oh, alright. Alright, so I'll just transfer the mic to Rohit and he may continue it since the voice is now set.
So I believe you guys can hear me now. I begin this slide again. So make your donors give online. So online transactions are more cost effective while at all times increasing the drop rate. Okay, far easier for donors and helps maintain highest level of transparency. Data is critical. Online donations help manage and optimize your donor relations through careful mining of data. Yes, okay, perfect. Right. So let me begin this from the start again. Okay. So making your donors give online. Okay. Online transactions are a lot more cost effective. Okay. While at all times increasing the drop rate. Okay. Now, needless to say that we are in 2017 and everything needs to be online. Because of our age, because of when it comes to the traditional way in terms of raising funds, we see a lot of NGOs who've got their own websites, they are online, but then they do not have their own payment gateways. And so when it comes to making donations, just the bank details are mentioned onto their website, and that's when people can either send them a check, or a demand draft, or the or traditional methods in terms of reality, you know. But now at Ketto, what we would like to emphasize on is that try and get your donors online. And as you can see, all these this thing slides which are there, they're all interrelated. So even this thing goes back to your microsite, okay, where it's important for NGOs to get a microsite because you are going to have your own online payment gateway, okay, where you can receive funds, okay, from all parts of the globe as long as as long as the NGO has an FCI. Okay. Now it's far easier for donors and helps maintain highest level of transparency. So now, if you come to think about the traditional ways in terms of raising funds, where we used to tell people, why don't you send a check out, or why don't you make a DD and send it to us? So that is very very time consuming, and uh, that causes a lot of drop rate in terms of donations. So now when all these donations happen online, okay, so which is very very fast, okay, and everything happens on a real-time basis, okay, so it takes a particular donor less than 3 minutes to go ahead and make a donation online and for an NGO to receive funds, okay. So it's very very important you get your donors to give online. And also another important factor, what happens is when you give online is that all these online donations, okay, so entire donor database is easily maintained. If it's coming back to the traditional ways, you will receive a check from someone and then you have to manually make entries onto your computers, onto your Excel sheets saying that, you know, X amount of money has come from X amount of donor. But here, when everything happens online, everything is automated. Okay, so whenever a particular donation comes, it gets directly automatically stored into your donor database. Okay, and at the end of your campaign, when you download the donor database, you have the complete details of the donor. As I said in the previous slide, you have the complete details of the donor, including the amount the person donated. So very, very important. Make your donors give online. Convince them to get online. Okay, that's the easiest and the fastest way for NGOs in terms of raising funds. Moving on to the next slide. Okay, so convert your donors in committed givers. As discussed. So we are just trying and re-emphasizing on these two important facts. Which is try and get them online, ask them to come and start fundraisers for you. Okay, now convert your donors into becoming commit givers. Now Ketto has recently launched this feature, so maintaining monthly program is now very, very easy. As I said, all the entire backend work, sending out ECS forms to the donors, getting them signed up, submitting them to the bank, all of that will be done by Ketto. Okay. Now, it allows the NGO to retain more donors year after year. Needless to say, you guys have when an NGO gets a particular donor to donate monthly, you know, so that in turn helps you in terms of retaining the donors. You know, monthly donors give more over an extended period. Instead of you having, instead of NGO having someone who comes once in a while and donates, for example, 5,000 rupees. How about you have uh, a dedicated donor, who is donating 1,000 rupees to you a month. On an extended period, that turns out to be much more beneficial for the NGO. Streamline income, giving you more time to focus on programs. Okay, so you don't really have to waste too much of time in terms of looking out for fundraisers. Okay, or looking out for fundraisers. Asking your supporters in terms of raising funds. The best thing is to go ahead and ask your donors to become into committed givers. Okay, and that also offers the donors a convenient way to give. Moving on to the next slide, okay, make donors into fundraising champions. Asking your donors to become your fundraiser not only helps strengthening the bond, but also helps in creating awareness with previously unknown networks of people. So we are just re-emphasizing on the facts as to what Ketto offers, and also in terms of the do's, what you have to do when it comes to crowdfunding. Okay, convert your donors into becoming fundraisers. Convert your donors into becoming monthly givers. Get yourself to microsite. Get all your transactions online. Okay, so all these things are a big do. When it comes for NGOs in terms of raising funds. Now, use associations and events like birthdays, marathons, and Dan Utsav. I'm sure everybody's heard of Dan Utsav, the Joy of Giving Week. Okay, you can use events like these in terms of raising funds. Like birthdays, for example. NGOs, should analyze their donors, okay, and get to know their donors. Get in touch with them, say a couple of weeks before their birthday, and ask them to start a fundraising campaign for their birthday. Instead of them just going ahead and receiving gifts from people or going out and throwing a party. You can have them start a fundraiser, and where you know they can convince their friends and family that instead of you coming and giving me a gift, come and donate money to my fundraiser because it is going for the education of the privileged children, for example. Okay, so try and use events like these in terms of converting your donors into becoming fundraisers. Okay, this is a short, organic, and free way of seeing an exponential growth in terms of funds and donors. Something that would otherwise be very expensive to do, right? So converting your donors into becoming fundraisers is very beneficial. Instead of we physically going out there and finding out people and gathering donations, why not make use of your donor base? Get in touch with them, ask them, convince them to come and start fundraisers for you. Convince them in terms of in terms of monthly donations. You know, so make donors into fundraising champions. Do not forget this. Okay. This is another interesting part which we have, which is how to engage your corporate partners. Now, I'm sure that there are a lot of NGOs out there who have corporate partners. And now when it comes to having a corporate partner, so the corporate, they probably might be writing them checks, in the CSR checks, okay. And so apart from that way of funding, okay, so now Ketto has also introduced crowdfunding as a part of employee engagement activities with corporates. If you come to think about it, every corporate, every HR, every corporate is always looking out for some sort of employee engagement. Now Ketto has introduced crowdfunding as a part of employee engagement activity. Okay. Now, nothing works better than a challenge. Divide employees into teams with a challenge to raise funds. The team raising the highest wins can also offer incentives to the winner for added motivation, works as a great engagement, and develops the much desired harmony and a relation amongst employees. Now, to explain this in brief, okay. Now, let us take, for example, there is a corporate and there are about 200 employees over there. Okay. Now, when crowd when crowdfunding is introduced over there as a part of employee engagement, okay, so that's when we can divide the corporate into teams. You can probably have one campaign amongst 5 people, okay, and all this now this campaign will all be for a good cause. Now let's say, for example, women empowerment, okay, so you've got 100 employees, okay, and you've broken them down into groups of 5 or groups of 10, okay, and each group has got their own campaign. Now the challenge is whichever team raises the highest amount of funds, okay, gets an incentive. Okay, so now incentive cannot just necessarily mean in terms of money or you know, so so we can give out weekly incentives. Okay, I mean, like the corporate can give out weekly incentives. It can be as simple as that. Giving out restaurant tickets, giving out movie tickets, giving out shopping vouchers. And now all these things have been tried and tested and done, and they have been very successful with corporates. Getting the corporates not just in terms of coming and volunteering for you, but they can also come and start fundraisers for you. So now crowdfunding is all about the network. And if you have a corporate which is your partner, so you have a huge network right there. And why not make use of this? Okay, so do not forget fundraising challenges in corporates. Okay, that's how you can engage your corporate partners. Now, this is an example where there's a company called as Cactus Communications. Okay, so the employees of Cactus Communications came together and they started campaigns for the drought in Latur last year. So now all the employees came together. They had their own campaigns. Okay, they approached their friends and families in terms of raising funds for Latur. And as you can see, all the employees together came raise 6 lakh. Okay, so this is an example as to how, okay, a particular NGO can utilize their corporate partners not just in terms of getting a CSR check, okay, but also in terms of introducing crowdfunding as a part of employee engagement activities. Now, I just like to add one more thing over here, which is, I'm sure that crowdfunding will be very new for you to pitch to your corporate employees. So we at Ketto can definitely help you in terms of, pitching to your corporate on behalf of you guys, okay, as to what crowdfunding is all about and how it will be beneficial, not just for the NGO but also for the corporate. So I just hope you guys keep this in mind. Okay. Now moving to the next slide. Now as far as cause marketing. Okay. Cause marketing is a great practice to let the world know your corporate is aligned with. Okay. And I just encourage the corporate or employees Can you guys hear me? You just tried and fixed the problem. Let's see if you can hear me now. Okay, beautiful. Right. I have a few people telling me that they can hear me. Okay. Now, would like to talk about this slide. Okay, which is cause of marketing. Okay. I'd like to begin again. So, cause marketing is a great practice to let the world know what cause your corporate is aligned with, and why just encourage the corporate or employees to celebrate. Okay, when you can mobilize your customers too. So cause marketing is all about, every corporate has got a particular cause, okay, for which they are associated with, okay, and if an NGO can analyze that particular cause, okay, they can go ahead and start campaigns and raise funds for that cause. Now to explain, okay, one of the examples which we've had lately at Ketto, I'm sure all of you guys might have heard of Zoom Car. Zoom Car is the service, where you can, so it's kind of like rent a car, so you can go ahead and rent a car for your vacation trips or whatever it is. So Zoom, started a campaign at Ketto for all the people who have been disabled due to road accidents. Okay. Now Zoomcar started a campaign, with a particular NGO, okay, who 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 the who actually they would be the beneficiaries of it, okay, and the funds which were raised, they were going to go to the NGO, and they were going to be helping out people in terms of getting them a Jaipur foot, okay, for the people who've actually lost their legs into a road accident, okay. So now that is called as cause marketing, okay. So now Zoomcar, okay, everybody knows about Zoomcar, right? So now they came ahead and started a campaign for the people who've actually lost their limbs in road accidents, and they raised about 1,50,000 on Ketto. Now this thing happened last week itself, and through all the funds which are raised, okay, they will be calling in the people who are disabled and getting them support. Okay, is called analyze try and analyze the cause for which a corporate is aligned with. Okay, and get in touch with them and try and utilize them in terms of cause marketing. Now, moving on to the next slide. This is just an example. Okay, so this is when NGO called it Pick McKay and Sony, they came together for a good cause. Okay, cause marketing once again. Okay, and obviously when it comes to Sony Music, so the cause was music, and all the funds which were raised from particular campaign were going to go for struggling musicians who are looking in terms of raising funds. Okay, now moving on to the last slide which we have. Okay, 10 Ketto features your NGO must know about. Okay, now this is just an entire recap of all the things which we talked about today. Okay, get yourself the Ketto microsite. Okay, so on your microsite you can have n number of people come and start fundraise for you. Okay, now on your microsite you should have your supporters come and start campaigns for you. Now even the NGO can also start a campaign for themselves, okay, but it is advisable to have all the supporters come and start with fundraising campaigns for you, okay. And as I've shown examples, how it is beneficial for NGOs to get their supporters come and start with fundraising campaigns for them, because through that way you're not just raising more amount of funds, but you are also increasing your entire donor base. Okay. Now ease of transactions. Get online. Okay. Get all your fundraising activities online. It is very easy. It is very fast. Okay. It takes less than 3 minutes for a particular donor to go ahead and donate online via the Ketto microsite. Okay. Now, since we're talking about online payments, okay, I would just like to emphasize on one fact that Ketto offers not just online modes of payments but also offline modes of payments. Okay, which is, so if somebody wants to pay by check or cash, okay, so Ketto does check and cash pickups as well. Okay, so anybody wants, if there are donors out there, who do not trust, giving their credit card details or debit card details online, so they can go ahead and use the check pickup and cash pickup. Now, this facility is available pan India. Okay, so that is ease of transactions. Social media integration. Okay, so now this is one of the backbones of crowdfunding. Okay, trying and spreading your message out. Okay, so now your Ketto campaign can be directly shared via all forms of social media. This link can be directly shared on Twitter, on Facebook, on WhatsApp, all forms of media. Okay, that is social media integration. Automated ATG receipts, as I said, I would request you to stop, doing the same old tedious things as what used to be. Go ahead, use Ketto's automated ATG receipt features. Okay, I would request you to go ahead and try it out once. And once you try it out, you will know how easy it is. And try to emphasize on the fact once again that with a single click of a button, you can send out thousands and thousands of ATGs. Okay, so please, I would request you to stop doing the age-old way of sending out ATGs. Go ahead, get online, get automated. Now, next feature which we talked about is a monthly donation. Okay, convert your donors into becoming a regular, into becoming monthly donors to you. Okay, because that keeps a steady income of funds coming in. Okay, and also it increases retention of your donors. Very, very important. Try and convince them in terms of becoming a monthly donor, even if it is small amount. Okay, but and as it was mentioned in one of the slides, for a longer period of time, it is much more beneficial. Okay, now another feature which we have at Ketto, which is where we have our own Ketto call center. Okay, where we have our agents. Okay, who call up the dormant donors of NGOs. Now, to give you a very, very simple example, every NGO has got their own donor base, and now in that particular donor base, you guys will always have donors which are dormant. Now, dormant meaning the ones who have not come and donated to you in the past 6 months or in the past 1 year, or the ones who've just come and donated to you once. Okay, and now what Ketto offers is, okay, now we follow very, very strict compliance. Now our NGO partners, give us the particular database of the dormant donors. Okay, and through our Ketto Connect, through our Ketto Connect call center, that is where we call up, okay, the dormant donor base of that particular NGO and convince them to becoming active donors once again for the same NGO. Okay, so if you would like few more details, you guys can definitely send me an email to know about the cost of these services, the benefit of the customer connect. It's a very, very beneficial aspect which we have built at Ketto. Then we're talking about donor management tools. Okay, as I said, get online. Once everything's online, getting your donor base, getting the phone numbers, getting email addresses, all of it is very, very simple. Okay, so your donor management tools are right here. Okay, now account management. Whenever NGO signs up on Ketto, and I'm sure that most of you guys are on Ketto. Okay, so all of you guys have their own dedicated account managers. Okay, you get 24/7 service. Okay, you can always give them a call, you can shoot them out a mail, always be at your assistance in terms of guiding you how to start a fundraiser, how to send out ATGs, okay, and how to utilize the Ketto platform to its fullest. Okay, and one of last but not the least, but so now at Ketto we maintain a very science. So where we maintain complete transparency. Right. I'd just like to say thank you for listening to me, and I hope the information was helpful to you. Okay. Please type in your valuable questions, and we will be addressing your Q&A. Can you guys hear me now? Okay, perfect. Indranil says that you can hear me. Okay, so now please go ahead and type in your questions, and I will have Adil read them out. Okay, and I will be very, very glad to go ahead and answer these questions. Over to you, Adil.
Yeah, so the first question is from Indraneel. The question is, how do Ketto ensure that the donations are coming from genuine donors? Can you please answer this?
Sure. Thank you very much for the question, Ranil. I'll just like to repeat the question once again. How does Ketto ensure that donations are coming from genuine donors? Okay. So the answer to that is, okay, we have our own compliance team. Okay. And so this thing compliance team also gets a lot of notifications from our payment gateways. Okay. Now, whenever there is a fraud transaction, or whenever there is uh, some sort of a a fraud donation trying to be made on Ketto. So Ketto does get notified from our payment gateways, saying that this is a fraud transaction, or this probably might be a fraud transaction. Please get in touch with the donors and confirm this transaction. Okay, so that's when our account managers call them up. Okay, call up the particular donor, confirm the order, and once we know it is genuine, we get in touch with the payment gateway team again, and that's when they tell us that, okay, well, you know what, this seems to be genuine, you can go ahead and accept the funds. So that should answer your question. Now the next question, Adil. Okay, right. So I am just going to go ahead and read out the questions now. Okay. So is it required to advertise a keto campaign on social media, paid ads on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube? Okay. So now the answer to this question is, as I said, you get your supporters to come and start with fundraisers for you. Now, for example, if you've got about 10 to 15 supporters whom you can get hold of to come and start with campaigns for you, okay? Now, these 10, 15 people, now on an average these days, all of us, we have about 500 friends on Facebook, okay? Then you've got about 200, 300 contacts on WhatsApp, Twitter, okay? So when you have more number of people come and start with campaigns for you, okay, more number of people are going to come and talk about it. Okay, more number of people talking about it, more number of people are going to hear about it, more number of people are going to see about it. Okay, so you can definitely go ahead and use host paid advertisements of Facebook or various other platforms like that. Okay, but now this is for the NGOs who would not have a budget in terms of raising in terms of spending on Facebook ads. The best way for them to do it is get their supporters to start campaigns. Because when, as I said, more people starting with campaigns, more people talking about it, more people talking about it, more people are going to share it. More people share it, that is going to increase the probability in terms of getting more donations. So Facebook paid ads, all of it, it's a definite go. You can definitely go ahead and do that as well. Okay, so I'm guessing that should answer your question. Let me go through the next one. Just give me a moment. Right. So I have the next question. Okay. Next question I have, which says, do we need digital signature for issue of automated ATG receipts? So the answer to that is no. You do not need digital signatures in terms of issuing automated ATG receipts. Okay. Right. Moving on to the next one. Okay. Now, are all features available? Are all features chargeable, or do they also operate on the 5% commission principle? Okay. So, what I would request you to do is, so now all the features, okay, come with come with your microsite. Okay. So you talk about dashboard, you talk about start a fundraiser, okay. You talk about your donate monthly. So now your donate monthly feature is the 5% one, okay, because so now that is a completely a feature which is separate. When it comes to starting from when it comes to starting campaigns. When it comes to starting campaigns, okay, so now Ketto charges a flat fee of 10.35% for the funds raised. Okay, so the 5% which is mentioned in this question of yours, that is only for the donate monthly. Okay, and just to specify in terms of the Ketto fees, so we charge a flat fee of 10.35%, out of which the breakup I'd like to give you, Ketto fees are 6%. Okay, the Ketto payment gateway fees, which includes the cash pickups and check pickups as well. Okay, the Ketto payment fees are 3%, and then there's a 15% of service tax on top of the 6 plus 3%. So the total comes up to 10.35%. So just to answer your question once again, the 5% which I mentioned, that is only for the donate monthly option for recurring donations. I hope that answers the question. We go ahead to the next one. Can the raise funds transfer periodically instead after the end of the campaign? Okay, so now the raise funds, so at Kettle, what we basically do is, the funds always get transferred after the campaign ends. Now, the reasons behind that is, just in case if there's a chargeback or just in case if somebody asks for a refund, okay? So, that's why we always choose in terms of in terms of transferring the funds after the campaign ends, right? So that answers your question, and let me go to the next one. Right. So does Ketto run email campaigns on behalf of any NGO? Right. So at Ketto we do send out emailers and we do promote NGOs. Okay. So the answer to that will be yes. Over to the next one. Just a moment. So we have a huge list of questions here. Okay. So let me have the next question, which is. next question which says that does Ketto promote campaigns? Okay. So Ketto does promote campaigns and Ketto does promote NGOs. Okay. Now, one of the things which I would really love to tell you is that we begin with about 100 to 200 campaigns every week. So it is definitely hard to promote all of them. So one of the first parameters in terms of Ketto picking up your campaign and setting it up in terms of promotion is that the campaign should have raised at least 40 to 50% of its set goal amount. So to give you an example, if you start a campaign with a campaign goal of 10 lakh rupees, only after you have raised 4 to 5 lakh rupees is when our marketing team will pick it up in terms of promoting it. Okay, because Ketto will promote something which already has a momentum. If something does not have a momentum, Ketto won't be able to promote it. Okay, so Ketto does go ahead and promote campaigns, and we do have various verticals, various aspects in which we do promote campaigns. So I just hope that answers your question. And one of the last thing I would like to tell you is thank you very, very much for taking your time out and coming for this wonderful webinar. Now, the PPT for this webinar will be sent to all of you, okay? And also along with the links which are all mentioned in this PPT. So you can go ahead and check out the campaigns which are mentioned in there. Right, and thank you very much once again, all of you, and I hope to talk to you guys soon. Thank you very, very much. Adil, thank you very much for your patience. Thanks a lot.